and welcome. This is ASO TV News. I am Tina Oje Achu. The headlines. President Bola Tinubu takes responsibility, assures to revive Nigeria's refineries. Chairman of Kwali Area Council commissions hands over a gender-friendly public toilet facility to Kwaita community. Minister of Education allows to unveils 80% practical agriculture training for tertiary institutions. And the Federal Road Safety Corps deploys 2,500 personnel ahead of Osun governorship election. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has vowed to revive Nigeria's refineries, saying they will not be allowed to waste away after years of heavy investment. The president who stated this when he received the leadership of the National Executive of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers in Abuja said the refineries will undergo research, technical assessment, and restructuring to restore their efficiency and profitability.
Ordinary flame and smoke of refinery doesn't mean that it's working until it's profitable and it yields the value for which it is built. I'm not a man who go looking back and everything, because I've accepted the asset and liability of my predecessor. No matter what has happened in the years past, it's my responsibility now as the president to fix it, make it work for the largest common value of our population.
President Tinubu also promised greater NUPENG investments in the compressed natural gas initiative and said constitutional issues surrounding local government autonomy are being reviewed. NUPENG praised the removal of fuel subsidies and the government's ongoing road project, describing the reforms as bold steps that have benefited the country. The union later decorated the president as its grand patron, while Information Minister Mohammed Idris praised the growing cooperation between the government and Labour. The chairman of Kwali Area Council, Mr. Nuhu Daniel Kwali, has commissioned and handed over a gender-friendly public toilet facility to the Kwaita community. Mr. Nuhu Daniel Kwali said the project is aimed at improving sanitation, promoting hygiene, and reducing orphan defecation in the community. Correspondent Abdullahi Mukhtar reports.
Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, Mr. Nuhu Daniel Kwali appreciated the Foundation for Sanitation Improvement, Water Aid, FCT Rwasa, the Kwali Area Council Wash Unit, Black Pelican Limited, and CSO Women in Wash for supporting the project and selecting Kwali Area Council as a beneficiary. He reaffirmed the council's commitment to collaborating with development partners to end open defecation, improve hygiene, and safeguard public health.
This laudable project that indeed is something that it is good for us to have in our various community, our various markets, our various mosques and churches, and all other open areas that people always gather to transact probably business and other activities.
The Kwali chairman also appreciated the Vice President of Nigeria and chairman of the Clean Nigeria campaign, Senator Kashim Shettima, for his efforts towards improving sanitation across the country. He urged members of the community to protect and maintain the facility, stressing that it belongs to them.
This project has been done. It is left for the community to see that it is being used to fullness and also to protect it. And we assure you that also the local government will be cooperating and giving you the support to see how this is being maintained.
The chairman FSI, Alhaji Idris Farooq, expressed appreciation to the council for providing land for the project. Mr. Chiku, representing the Water Aid Country Director, encouraged the women to maintain the facility and urged the council to provide necessary support to ensure its sustainability. Also speaking, Mr. Dalladi Katampe, representing the Director of the FCT Ruwasa Wash Unit, Dr. Yusuf Joy, commended the council for its support, noting that the project will contribute to reduce open defecation in the community.
We deeply appreciate the leadership of the council and its commitment to improving sanitation and public health within the area.
Let this commissioning renew your collective commitment to reaching every person within your community.
Collaboration with the area council so that you will give us the support to make sure that we make Kwali Area Council the first area council in FCT to become open defecation free.
I'm delighted that this program is coming up at this period, and it will further strengthen the work that we have been doing on the field.
Highlight of the occasion was the formal commissioning and handing over of the facility to the Quetta Community Wash Cooperative Society for operation and maintenance. Abdullahi Mukhtar, ASO Television News.
The chairman of Gwagwalada Area Council, Comrade Kasimu Muhammad Ikwa, has called on farmers and herders in the area council to embrace peace and dialogue following the recent escalation of violence between the two groups. Comrade Ikwa made a call at a meeting with representatives of the farming and herding communities, where he declared that enough is enough, warning that anyone found violating the law would face the consequences regardless of status. The chairman expressed sadness that his first meeting with the two groups had come against the backdrop of violence and loss of lives, particularly around the Dobi axis, where about 8 casualties were reportedly recorded. He urged both parties to stop taking the law into their own hands and instead report grievances to the appropriate authorities. The chairman also announced the constitution of a 13-member investigative committee to determine the immediate and remote causes of the conflict, assess the damage and losses suffered by both sides, and recommend lasting solutions to prevent further clashes. The committee has 2 weeks to complete its assignment and submit its report. The officer commanding the 167 Battalion, who also addressed the meeting, urged farmers and herders to shun violence, stressing that human life is more valuable than farmland, livestock, or property. He called for dialogue, alternative dispute resolution, and the use of established security channels in resolving disputes, including cases involving damaged crops or killed animals. Representatives of both farming and Fulani communities pledged to work with the authorities to end the violence and prevent a recurrence. The Miati Allah representative commended the chairman's intervention and appealed to him to personally visit areas where Fulani residents and their cattle were reportedly killed. Comrade Kasimu Muhammad Ikwa reiterated his administration's commitment to peace, justice, and dialogue, stressing that farmers and herders are important stakeholders in the development of Gwagwalada Area Council and must find a way to coexist peacefully. The Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunja Lausa, has said the federal government is committed to transforming agriculture into a skills-based sector through practical-oriented training and the development of national occupational standards. He said the shift to 80% practical training and 20% theory in agricultural education would equip Nigerian youth with hands-on skills needed to contribute effectively to the sector and the nation's economic growth. The minister stated this while receiving the report of the National Implementation Committee on the review and development of agricultural curricula for tertiary institutions in Nigeria, describing the new approach as a major departure from the previous 70% theoretical and 30% practical model. He said the reform would produce a better trained workforce, strengthen agricultural capacity, and create opportunities for young Nigerians to turn their skills into productive ventures. Presenting the report, the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Mohammed, disclosed that the exercise produced 36 new and reviewed ND and HND curricula, 3 NCE curricula, and 31 national occupational standards. He said 27 of the standards were developed from scratch, while 4 existing standards were reviewed, significantly expanding the framework for agricultural skills development. Dr. Lausa showed that the ministry would collaborate with NBTE, tertiary institutions, industry, and other stakeholders to ensure effective implementation of the reviewed curricula. He stressed that adequate sensitization, teacher training, and institutional support would be critical to achieving the objectives of the reform and advancing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda through a skilled and productive agricultural workforce. You're watching ASO Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on Star Times TV channel 127 and Free TV channel 507. We're also on the UHF band on channel 38. Still to come, the Federal Road Safety Corps deploys 2,500 personnel ahead of Osun governorship election. Stay with us for details of these and more shortly.
In Biggie's house, there is no place to hide. And even when you think no one is watching, the energy can swing in an instant. This BB Naija Season 11, everything burns brighter. Only the biggest moves tip the scale, because nothing is given, but everything is for the taking. When the world watches, will you be outshined? Or will you step up and take the spotlight? Big Brother Naija Season 11 starts Sunday, July 26th, showing 24/7 on DSTV channel 198 and GoTV channel 49. Headline sponsor, Bet Power.
Many thanks for joining us again. The Federal Road Safety Corps has deployed 2,500 personnel and 50 operational vehicles across Osun State ahead of Saturday's governorship election. The Corps spokesman, Deputy Corps Marshal Oshundu Oheri, in a statement said the deployments include 7 heavy-duty tow trucks and 6 ambulances to support traffic management, emergency response, and the removal of road obstructions. The FRSC said it will also strictly enforce the restriction and no movement order from 6 a.m. on Saturday, August 15, with personnel positioned at strategic locations across the state, advising motorists and transport operators to plan their journeys ahead and comply with all lawful traffic directives. He noted that its personnel will work with the police, INEC, and other security agencies to maintain safe and orderly movement before, during, and after the election, adding that vehicles designated to transport electoral materials will be inspected and certified to ensure they meet safety and roadworthiness standards. The Corps Marshal, Shehu Mohammed, assured the deployments will be carried out with professionalism, neutrality, discipline, and respect for the rights of all citizens, as the Corps urged residents and road users to cooperate with its personnel and avoid restricted roads during the election period. The federal government is calling for wider investment, stronger technical capacity, and stricter safety standards as Nigeria intensifies effort to deepen the use of compressed natural gas in the transportation sector. This was made known during a courtesy visit to the executive chairman of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas and Electric Vehicle Initiative, and EV, Mr. Ismail Ahmed, in Abuja. The visit, led by its chairman, Farouk Abdullahi, the NCNGF, said the federal government's CNG initiative is gradually moving beyond an emergency response to become a sustainable industry. The Forum, which represents a growing network of more than 300 investors and over 360 conversion centers, stressed the need to expand access to financing and increase the number of certified conversion facilities.
The National CNG Forum considers PI, CNG and EV a strategic partner and in the development of Nigeria's CNG ecosystem. We believe that the success of the federal government CNG initiative program depends significantly on a strong, coordinated and enduring partnership between government and industry stakeholders. As a forum, we are committed to supporting the objectives of Mr. President and of course PICNGI by providing a credible platform for stakeholder engagement, facilitating constructive dialogue and bringing practical industry perspective to the table. We believe that when government and industry work together with a shared vision, we can respond more effectively to emerging challenges, identify opportunities, and create solutions that strengthen the entire CNG value chain.
Responding, the executive chairman of PICNG and EV, Mr. Ismail Ahmed, commended the forum and other private sector investors for their contributions to the initiative. He said changing public perception and habits around conventional fuels would require sustained public enlightenment and technical training, particularly to address misconceptions about the safety of gas cylinders.
We're happy with the speed at which CNG is just catching on all over the country. I know it's largely because of course PMS is 1,300. People have to look for alternative, but other than that, people are really interested in CNG. It's unbelievable, you know. In Kano, it's mind blowing, you know. When we had little couple of the queue, I think about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. You know, when we had the Ajaputa maintenance going on, you know, people were calling from Kano to say, we heard that this thing is going to come to Kano. We knew that this wasn't going to last. you know, when people see and they experience CNG, then they'll start wondering, is this thing going to last? But it is going to last. That is the reality of it. It's an alternative energy that is going to last. So we have.
Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening public-private collaboration, boosting investor confidence, and ensuring that the nationwide CNG expansion delivers cheaper, cleaner, and safer transportation options for Nigerians. Now, the Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Muhammad, led a high-level Nigerian defense delegation on a 2-day visit to key defense industry facilities in Egypt as part of an effort to deepen bilateral defense cooperation and strengthen Nigeria's indigenous defense production capacity. The delegation, comprising officials from the Ministry of Defense, Defense Headquarters, the Armed Forces, Office of the National Security Advisor, Defense Intelligence Agency, and Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria, toured the facilities of Eagle International for Defense Systems Company in Suez. Speaking during the visit, Matabale said the engagement was strategic and developmental rather than focused on immediate procurement. He said Nigeria is exploring sustainable industrial partnerships with Egypt, particularly through DECON for the joint manufacture of selected military equipment and systems. The minister said the proposed cooperation would strengthen Nigeria's local production capacity, develop specialized technical expertise, promote local content, and facilitate the transfer of relevant defense technologies and industrial knowledge to the country. On the second day, the delegation held high-level talks with Egypt's Ministry of Military Production in Cairo, focusing on areas of mutual interest, including the establishment of an ammunition production line in Nigeria through structured technical and industrial cooperation. Both sides expressed interest in advancing the proposal and concluding formal agreements to guide its implementation. Matawale said the initiative aligns with the federal government's objective of achieving greater self-reliance in critical defense production, reducing dependence on external resources, and building a resilient military-industrial complex. The chairman and chief executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, has charged officers to remain resilient in the fight against illicit drugs, describing it as a generational responsibility. He spoke on Thursday at the agency's 12th Commendations and Awards ceremony in Abuja. Performance alongside 18 best performing commands and 19 NGOs and media organizations for their contributions to the war against drug abuse. WADA campaign, Marwa said the drug war has no end date, as new cartels and trafficking routes would emerge whenever existing ones are dismantled. He stressed that enforcement alone cannot win the battle, noting the roles of NGOs and the media in prevention, rehabilitation, and public awareness. He highlighted the recent operations, including the dismantling of the Amadi Simon drug cartel, 2 Nigerian-Mexican methamphetamine cartels in Ogun and Oyo Forest, and a tramadol cartel operating along the Togo-Benin Republic-Nigeria corridor. Marwa urged officers to see the award recipients as a standard to emulate and encouraged civil society and media partners to do more. He congratulated the honorees and thanked their families and Nigerians for their continued trust in the agency. The chairman and chief executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, has urged officers and personnel to remain resolute and resilient in the fight against illicit drug trafficking, describing the task as a generational responsibility. Marwa gave the charge on Thursday, August 13, 2026, at the 12th Chairman and Chief Executive Officer's Commendations and Award ceremony at the agency's national headquarters in Abuja. He earned 274 personnel for outstanding performance, alongside 18 best performing commands and 19 NGOs and media organizations for their contributions to the war against drug abuse advocacy. The NDLEA chairman stressed that the war against illicit drugs is a continuous responsibility, not a campaign with an end date. According to him, sustained intelligence gathering, modern strategies, and cross-border cooperation remain essential to dismantling drug cartels, while acknowledging the vital roles of NGOs and the media in preventing addiction, supporting recovery, and exposing trafficking networks. The Philippine ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Meso Melojo, has urged sustained policies and legislative frameworks to promote gender equality and inclusion in governance. Speaking in Abuja during a Female Legislative Mentorship Initiative session, he highlighted the Philippines Gender and Development Framework, including budget-linked accountability measures for government agencies. The ambassador also praised Nigeria's progress in gender mainstreaming, describing the country's diversity and youthful population as strengths that can drive national unity and economic growth. The envoy expressed optimism for stronger cooperation between Nigeria and the Philippines in gender-responsive legislation, women's leadership, peace building, and diplomacy. The Nigeria-India partnership is recording more gains following President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's participation in the G20 summit in New Delhi in 2023, where the African Union was formally admitted as a permanent member of the G20. The development has paved the way for deeper cooperation, with both countries building on their engagement through the G20 and BRICS. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja, the Indian High Commissioner, Ambassador Ashok Singh, highlighted key diplomatic engagement and achievement between the two countries, while extending an invitation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the upcoming BRICS and G20 summit in September. As leading voices of the Global South, discussions focus on strengthening bilateral cooperation across various sectors and exploring new areas of partnership.
When I say this was indeed a historic visit, I say this because it was after a gap of several years, I think around 17 years, and it underscored the significance of our relationship as Prime Minister Modi held very extensive discussions with President Tinubu in various areas, including trade and investment, defense, energy, agriculture, health, education, technology, and security, to name a few. Both India and Nigeria support a stronger voice for the developing countries and are already cooperating on issues including the reform of global institutions and represent the growing aspirations of the global South.
The Deputy High Commissioner, Ms. Vetika Rawat, also addressed concerns over counterfeit medicines, noting that India currently supplies about 40% of Nigeria's pharmaceutical imports, while Indian companies continue to invest billions of dollars in local pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Please allow me to say a word on why this story matters today and matters so directly to the friendship between our two great nations. The very achievements of the National Family Health Survey, that is expanding immunization, affordable maternal and child care, and wider financial protection in healthcare, are the same pillars on which our health partnership with Nigeria is built. It means not only affordable medicines reaching Nigerian homes, but also manufacturing medicines in Nigeria for Nigerian homes.
Stronger communication, skills development, security cooperation, and deeper bilateral engagement will help drive the growth of the Global South and deliver greater gains for both countries. The Chinese government says it will support Nigeria with 200 million RMB in grant assistance to support a great development project with aim to boost Nigeria's economic growth and enhance bilateral engagement. Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Yu Danha, announced this during a meeting with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Dunoma Umaru Ahmed, at the ministry in Abuja. Ambassador Yu said the grants reflect the growing strategic partnership between both countries, noting that Nigeria-China relations have remained at the forefront of China-Africa relations for over 5 decades. In response, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Dunoma Umaru Ahmed, said the grants demonstrate China's commitment to Nigeria's economic and social development as it reflects the deep friendship between both countries. He assured that Nigeria will make effective use of the assistance to advance development and further strengthen bilateral relations. And that's the bulletin. But before we go, let's take another look at one of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu has vowed to revive Nigeria's refineries, saying they will not be allowed to waste away after years of heavy investment. And that's the news. I am Tina Oje Achu. Many thanks for watching.